Hi everyone. Thanks for joining me. I thought I would start off this video by wearing the t-shirt that I finished because then it'll be less video clips for me to change. Well, I guess I don't have to change, but anyway, this is oh, hi everyone. Thanks for joining me. My name's Renee. I thought I would film using natural light, but I don't know. I don't know if it's doing the job because it's gray outside today. But anyway, I'll at least film this way for the beginning clip. This is my completed object. Um, it's the Purl Soho circular yoke tee. It can be done in short sleeved, 3/4, long sleeved. I've talked about it a little more in my previous videos. This is my first finished garment with sleeves. I did a vest as my very first one. Oh, I have a water bottle with a mic on it, by the way. It's too hard to clip on things, so that's what that is. Yeah, so a couple things went right and a couple things went wrong as my first knitted garment, like learning basically everything you have to learn to knit your first garment with sleeves. And this was my first yoke. So, yeah, I'll get into it. I just wanted to first show you in this clip. I'll stand up and then we can get into details in a second. I have it on with a skirt, which is about the way that I would wear this during the summer. I wear a lot of just casual skirts. I think it's done well enough that I could wear this, like, let's say, on a Zoom call for work. But we'll get into one reason why I might not, that I'd like your feedback on. Just wanted to show you how it looks before we get into details. So I knit this to like 11 inches. It looks longer, but 11 inches before I started the ribbing. And I think you're supposed to go 12, but I thought this would grow because it's 100% cotton. So I didn't want to go further. I think if I were to do this again, I would knit it an inch longer or a half an inch longer before doing the ribbing because I like the length. It does fall lower in the front than the back. I did short rows, which I talked about a few um, videos ago. They weren't like correct short rows, but so this is what it looks like just hanging naturally. There's color change. I'll just say that up front because I joined in a skein that was a different color. Depending on what lighting you're in, you can sometimes notice it and you can sometimes not notice it. This would be perfect for, again, like a video call because I'm not standing. But would I wear this out like casually to the grocery store or something? Yeah, I would. I would. I'm happy about it. There's a few things um, not exactly correct. And one of them is that I now think this sleeve is shorter than this one, even though I measured the same distance under the arm. So I thought, like, if I unrolled this and I unrolled this, but I think this is ultimately a 1/4 inch, a half inch longer. So why do I have rolled sleeves when I have ribbing here and ribbing here? I will talk about that in a second, but yeah, so that's that. Um, I will join you in just a second. All right, and we're back. This is just better lighting today than the natural light on this cloudy day. So anyway, you can maybe see that this is slightly shorter. What happened was, the reason I don't have ribbing on the sleeves is first of all, when I did the first sleeve, whichever one that was, I think it was this one, I did the stretchy bind off and forgot that I had ribbing to do. So I ripped it out. I did the ribbing, but I didn't like how it looked, even though I went down a needle size. So then I ripped that back and I don't know, I added, I guess, some length until it was like 2.25, not the 3.25 inches, because I liked where it was sitting. And I did a stretchy bind off that I found on a video on YouTube, and I let it roll. And then I did the same thing with this one, but maybe it's 1/4 inch off. And again, in this lighting, I'll show you. Yeah, you can see it more in this lighting than you could in daylight. Okay, I used K+C Cotton from Joann's, and I think I broke into just a little bit of a 1/3 skein. And how many yards are in a skein? I don't know, but I'll put that in the description box so that you know how many skeins this took. It looks like I cast it on June 2nd and was finished on July 2nd. That doesn't include blocking. I'm not going to include blocking. I just mean finished knitting on July 2nd. And then I put it out in the sun, and I blocked it on July 2nd in the evening, and then on July 3rd in the morning, laid it out on a 90-degree day with very little humidity, and flipped it over at some point, and it dried so nicely. This yarn is 100% cotton. It felt almost like it was mercerized. It was very nice to knit with. It's not the lightest garment. It's a thicker yarn. Let me see how it's called K+C knit. It stands for knit and crochet. It's 180 yards. I'm looking on Ravelry. It's 180 yards, a skein, and it's considered weight category 3 lightweight. And it says to use 7 or 8 needles. Let's see what I used. I used US 7. The gauge was all right because I didn't have shorty needle. Okay. Yeah, I did 7. And I did 7 on this ribbing because I didn't have shorty needles, something like that. But I had to go and get them. I do like how, let me just turn around and show you where the neckline is. When you don't have this on, the back neck is taller than the front. I tried short rows, and then I tried German short rows, so it's a mix, and it all worked out. So as far as using this cotton, it's super soft. It didn't change that much in blocking. It might have gotten a little wider, but I don't think so. I knit a size, 2, I believe. And yeah, I broke into a 1/3 skein, but just a little bit. The one thing that I would have changed is this ribbing. I used regular, just not ribbing, bind off. I used just binding off in pattern in the first way that I ever learned how to bind off. And I definitely like this stretchy bind off better. And I was actually thinking about ripping it out, but I was, nah, I'm not going to. Will I correct the sleeve? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. So that's that for the circular yoke tee. I wanted to show you what I'm doing in my notebook my 3-ring binder for projects that I showed you earlier, last video. Now that this is done, I put my swatch in there. I put the label. I put my little notes about the swatch in my little tag. I have the pattern, which includes all my little notes. And I will use this pattern again because you can do 3/4 sleeves and and full size sleeves. And so it's a good buy. How much is this pattern? Let's see, $9.80. The yarn for on sale was like $4.13 a skein, so a little over $12 and change, and a pattern that I'll use more than once. Pretty nice. I would certainly recommend this cotton for blankets, baby blankets, this kind of shirt. I think it would get a little heavy if you were not doing something short sleeved, and certainly for sleeveless, it would be good. But it would not be the thing you want to wear on a 90-degree day with humidity, because I just feel like it's thick. Compared to the yarn that I'm using now for a work in progress. Work in progress, I had bought this beautiful teal yarn from Purl Soho. It's called Santolina. And its makeup is 70% organically grown cotton, 20% rayon from bamboo, so 20% bamboo and 10% hemp. Because, and then I also bought the, I'm going to go back to my projects here, the Sunshine Tea pattern from Andrea Gaughan. And so that looks like this. So it's got a folded collar, folded sleeved, and it's just a plain crew neck short sleeve shirt. You can add stripes if you want. And I have started this project. I'll show you what it looks like. I'm shaping shoulders, I think, right now. But that's what it looks like. It is as light as air and as thin as air. It's got some hemp nubbies in there, some white flecks. And I love the stiff stitch definition. You can see through it a little bit, but I know from my swatch that it just fills in. It blooms a little bit, fills in some gaps. I already made a little bit of an oopsie where I did a little bit of surgery, filled in a hole, but I just kept on going. This is the back, by the way. You're starting in the back, and then you build it and go from there. I love this pattern. It is, my swatch says, this is how it looks when it's blocked. So yeah, it just fills in into this beautiful fabric. So yeah, I like this a lot. I got 27 stitches in 4 inches. I think I'm using a size 6 needle. 5 or 6. What does it say in my project? Let me go back to my project so I can give you good information. Project. Okay. US 5. I'm using a 5. I have 3 skeins of this, and according to the pattern, that should be enough. I just can't explain to you how much I love this yarn. It's lightweight, therefore it's a little, like, I had the possibility of stitches like slipping off the needle at first because they were very slippery, and that's just during the cast on and the first or second rows. It's just like, oh, a little hard to manage, but I knew that from the swatch that I did. So I was just patient. And then as it builds on the needles, then you get less of that issue, because then you've got, you've got some grip, you've got some weight on the needles. So yeah, you put the bottom of the back on hold while you start to build out the shoulder. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm in a summer tea knit along, and I there are some regularly paced drawings, and I've already won a free pattern from Andrea Gaughan. So because I mean that was like the best thing ever, right? Um, so I was so excited, and I got on the Andrea Gowan website, and I saw, how do I pronounce this? The Keone, a sweater that is tremendously cozy and practical, broken rib worked in fingering weight. I love it. Um, I'll put a better picture, but you see that broken rib? Um, design, just plain, but I wanted the challenge of a broken rib and something just more interesting. Um, a challenge. I like the fingering weight aspect. I love that. I don't always want to be knitting chunkier things, for the wintertime and the fall. Classic fit, raglan shaping, moderate ease. I mean, that is right up my alley. It's got a more polished look to the body for me. And so I have it now for free. Yeah, it's fantastic. Very generous. Okay, what else is happening? Let me get back to the page. So that's that. That is a work in progress. And oh, yeah, let me talk about socks. I have that sock that I started a long time ago. I'm not really keeping pace, updating Ravelry or anything, because this was just a my first sock project, and I had done a pretty long leg based on the Crazy Lady 9-inch circular sock pattern. I don't know that I'll ever make a sock this long again. I don't know why. I don't really need the stitch holders in there anymore. I did the heel that's in the pattern. I can't tell you, like it was hard. I did it on DPNs. I can't tell you whether it worked or not, because I haven't been able to put my foot in this thing yet. And then I will just do the length to what I have measured out as the correct length for me. I got some knitting done on a plane that I was on recently. So that was nice. I took this on the plane and also a little bit in the airport. And there I go. Then I'll do a toe for the first time. I'm eager to try. This was a difficult heel for me, and I wasn't sure whether I was doing the right rows and stitches and so on, but I tried. But I'm eager to try some other heels now too. Afterthought heel, of course, could be an idea. I had done the heel before I left on the plane trip, so I could do the foot, in my travels. But I cast on another sock because I had some other yarn that I will talk about. Guess this is kind of acquisition, but I've had this sock yarn from Joann's for a while. But so it's this clearance yarn from Joann's, which is the infamous Patton's Croy sock. It was $5.47, but I actually think in the end it was less than that because there was an additional percentage off of the clearance that day. So I got this one, so it was like $4. I got this one and this one, and they're actually both the same. I wonder which one I started on. I think it was this one, but they're actually both the same color. It's called Mexicali stripes, but I think they're just wound differently. So this one's got the coral red and this had the purple to begin with. So that's Patton's Croy. And it is the makeup of Patton's Croy, 75% wool, 25% nylon. And then I got just this off-white one. And I had a blue one, but I think when I was returning that linen yarn, the Patton's linen yarn I talked about in my last video, I accidentally returned that one with it. So I want to get it back. But I found the Patton's Croy to be, because I've only ever used this ReneePgh yarn, by the way. This is not like that. It's not toothy. It's very springy. I decided to do a, what's it called? I think you do two knit stitches, a 2x1, 2 knits and 1 purl. And look how it started off with this, with these colors. Isn't that great? This ribbing isn't perfect. I would sometimes get distracted and forget where I left off, but look how these 2 skinny stripes actually started off the sock cuff. And I'm only going down to 20 rows before I start a heel this time, because that's more me. I just think, oh my God, having so much fun. This yarn, the white speckled, I actually got from Amazon. Yeah, I ordered from Amazon. I'm not going to do that all the time, guys, but I did this time. This is ReneePgh. I just wanted some soft yarn that wasn't ReneePgh, and I wanted, like, I had it in my brain, I wanted something speckled, and I thought I was going to take this on that plane trip, so that's why I ordered it fast. And it is ReneePgh Hawthorne. You ReneePgh fans out there, you know Hawthorne. It was like $17.98 for the 400 some yards, so I thought, okay, I'll do it. And this is 80% fine superwash Highland wool, 20% polyamide. And this is in the colorway Confetti Speckle. It's 357 yards. I said 400. Yeah. Isn't it great? Yeah, I love it. So I might be near the 20 rows. Then I'm going to start my heel and yeah, just playing around. Playing around. I don't know what heel. Tell me what heel is like the easiest heel. Is it the one in the Crazy Lady? Is that a slip stitch heel? I don't know. I don't know. So I don't have this one on Ravelry. Maybe I'll add it in when I'm done. But these things just kind of, I do knitting in the evening on these. And actually, I took this to the 4th of July picnic I went to yesterday. And I thought, am I going to knit while I'm there? And it was just fun. My sister was there and we set up chairs. This is at my daughter's house. She lives right on the corner where the parade is. So we have front row seats along with everybody. You know, everyone just sits on the sidewalk and oh, so much fun. This small town she lives in. So I actually sat there and knit and it was the most fun thing I've ever done. I'm going to take this to the baseball game. I have to look, you know, when I'm doing it. So it was nice to just sit and chat and look and put it away for a while, get it out again. Like, it didn't feel, even though I had to look, it didn't feel antisocial to me. Okay, I have one more thing to talk about. Let me get this swatch back up here before I forget, but I have a swatch. Oh, and then I'm going to talk about some pattern ideas that I have. I have a swatch. I have a skein of Purl Soho Morning that I got when I was returning some of the skeins of the plain air yarn, which ended up feeling a little too scratchy to make something that was going to be like laying on my chest. I was going to do a sweater, but then unfortunately I just felt like the plain air was a little too prickly, I guess, a little prickle, a very sensitive skin. And then I ordered this Morning and I have a swatch of it. I started unraveling it, but then I stopped because it was too laborious. I thought I was going to use this in my project. But anyway, it got so, oh my God, it's so soft. But there's a tiny bit of prickle there. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I can wear this on my chest. Because I feel like my chest is even more, this is a very sensitive spot for me. I feel like this is just as sensitive. So I wasn't sure. And I didn't want to return yet another thing to Purl Soho to exchange. But this morning yarn, which is made up of 75% cotton and 25% yak, and yet it's still a little prickly for me. Let me know if anyone else feels that way about yak. But they show this for baby blankets, baby clothes. So I thought maybe it gets even softer as you wash it, because it says you can machine wash. So they have, like, if you look on Ravelry, people are making baby things out of this all the time. So I thought, why don't I have this one skein. It's 191 yards, 20 to 22 inches in a 4-inch. I got using a 5 needle. I ended up getting 21 stitches in 4 inches using size 7 needle. So I thought maybe I would try a Sophie scarf, the larger version, because I think I can get a Sophie scarf out of this. I've already cast it on using size 7, but then I read the pattern a little wrong in the beginning, so I just ripped it out, because you only have to cast on 6 stitches. So I thought, all right, just wait, settle down. But yeah, I am going to start this pretty soon, because then I'll be working on this summer tee and then the Sophie scarf. Oh, let me show you the Sophie scarf. I mean, it's famous, so most people know what it looks like, but if I was a new knitter, I wouldn't know what you're talking about. So it was very inexpensive. It was like, what was this, $4 maybe? For the pattern. So this is the small version she has on. What I like about this is it's not a bandana. So let me find other. It's a garter stitch. Let me go to the photos. Yeah, this is a better photo. So it starts off with these little edges, tiny little triangle, and it just gets wider and wider, and it's garter stitch. This is the larger size. I'll just make it until I have to decrease it. I've weighed it, it's 95 grams, and I will just check in when I think I've hit halfway, and you just build the layers, and the I-cord is built at the same time that you're making the scarf. And this is what the larger one could look like. And of course, I think some of these are done in cashmere, of course, you know. But anyway, yeah, I know I'm making something for my neck that I think is scratchy, but I just want to try it, and it'll be a fun project in terms of the pattern. I want to try the pattern, and it was so inexpensive. That's what really got me. Didn't feel like a big investment. Okay, what's coming up? I have some very inexpensive yarn that I bought at Hobby Lobby. It's downstairs in my ottoman. I'll show it to you next time. I went into Hobby Lobby. I've never been in one. I was in a construction zone down in a part of the Pittsburgh suburbs called the North Hills, and I was stuck in traffic, and I was right at the Hobby Lobby. So I thought, well, I'll just go into the Hobby Lobby, and I've seen some videos about their yarn. I know it's mostly like acrylic blends and so on, but I don't have a problem with that. And I found a yarn it could be all acrylic or an acrylic blend. I'll show it to you the next time though. It's in a pretty dusty rose salmon, and it was on clearance. It was $3 and something a skein. And I bought enough to make what I think I'm going to make is my first sweater. And that is the Florence Miller step-by-step sweater. Because I needed worsted weight. And this looks fantastic. It's got lots of ribbing at the bottom. It's got the crew neck that I like, sleeves that are feel like the right width for me. And I can't wait to practice. And she has a video tutorial on the whole thing. So that'll be fun. This is a free pattern. So I already have it in my library, and I just couldn't be more excited. I think my yarn, I think my yarn is the 16 inches per 4 inches. So that's more, could be like an Aran weight, but it can be from worsted to Aran weight. And it uses a size, needle? US size 9. I might have to use an 8 based on my yarn, but we'll see. I'm going to make a swatch of that pretty soon. Really excited about that. Let's see what else I have here. Just waiting for me in my queue. I tend to put things in the queue, and then I realized I could be favoriting these things. I have, oh my God. I really want to make a Purl Soho, mixed rib hat. And this is one of the free patterns. I'm in love with, I could just make everything out of that rose color. But yeah, I want to make that. I've made a beret for my daughter, which I need to revise, make a little looser at the bottom, which I haven't done. So that was a free pattern. It uses, it's Aran weight, so a chunky yarn. I don't have yarn for it yet. I talked about the lento the last time, and then I've got all these sweaters in here, like so many sweaters. And then I could keep making summer short sleeves. So that's all I have for now. Yeah, thanks for joining me. Because I was going to say before I go, I've got this, if you remember, I've got this kobu that I want to make another short sleeved shirt out of. And so I want to see how this pattern goes, the one I'm making now from Andrea at Gaughan. And this is 232 yards, 51% cotton and 49% rayon from bamboo. This is highly rated by NE Knits in her video where she rates cotton yarns. I watched it a second time, and this is like out of her A, B, C, D, E ratings. I think this might be a B. And it was super affordable at Joann's when you're either there during a sale or you're using a coupon, but this was on sale. So anyway, thanks for joining me. I can't wait to continue the conversation in the comments. Thank you for everyone that has recently joined. Did I even say my name? My name's Renee. Thanks for being here and pressing the subscribe button. Like, it's just so generous of you to want to follow me as I continue learning how to knit. So this is my first top. The only other wearable I've made thus far is a vest, which you would have seen in one of my later podcast. So thanks for joining me. Please join me in the comments, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Bye.